So as you may or may not be aware, Virginia lies on the coast. In other words, the sea, maybe I shouldn't say that. It borders a large body of salt water, which comes in and out in waves. I'll leave it up to you to figure out what I'm talking about. Apparently, in Virginia, they have a problem in that the water's getting more and the ground is getting less. Why am I talking this way? Well, they wanted to investigate just to find out how much threat there was of parts of their state ending up underwater, because this is the way that you plan for these things from an infrastructure standpoint. They're looking for measurements at Sewell's Point in Norfolk. They are looking to figure out, well, what type of roads? Will they need to build new roads? Will they need to get some houses off the coastline? All sorts of things. Well, state lawmakers ran into a problem this year when they were recommending a study on these rising sea levels and their potential impacts on the coastal Virginia. Why? Because Republicans object to the words sea level rise or climate change in the bill that would authorize these studies. So lawmakers did away with all mention of sea level rise, substituting a more politically neutral phrase, recurrent flooding. You remember how Republicans used to whine about politically correct language? Now you can't say the word sea level rise because it upsets them too much. So when they changed the word sea level rise to recurrent flooding, the study, while fixed on the same research, sailed through the General Assembly and signed by Governor Bob McConnell. Larry Atkinson, an oceanographer at Old Dominion University, overseeing a climate change initiative that focuses on rising sea levels, he says these studies need to be done if we're going to logically tackle these problems that scientific data unequivocally proves are happening. However, State Delegate Chris Stoll, Republican from Virginia Beach, was the one who insisted on changing the sea level rise study to one on recurrent flooding. He said sea level rise is a left-wing term that conjures up animosities on the right. What people care about is the floodwater coming through their door. Let's focus on that. Let's study that. So that's what I wanted to call this. I don't understand why they didn't call it the floodwater coming through their door study. The Virginia Department of Environmental Quality is the clearinghouse for federal grants helping to pay for 3 specific studies of sea level rise in Hampton Roads, the Middle Peninsula in Northern Virginia. At each stage of the studies, the state has altered the verbiage, said Laura McKay, State Director of Coastal Zone Management. At first, McKay said the studies were about climate change. Then they were changed to sea level rise. Now they're about coastal resilience. And while the studies themselves are slightly different, it's really about political sensitivities. It's kind of silly, she said. Yeah, you think so? But the reality is some of the phrases just really send people screaming. We want to use language that doesn't alienate people. Do you know how infantile you have to be now to be one of these Republicans? I mean, I get it, yes. There's problems with the Democratic Party. Big problems. Maybe even insurmountable problems. But the Republican Party is just full of morons. They get upset at the notion of using the words sea level rise. man, this country's screwed. I mean, this big landmass could be on the receiving end of a fornication.